Hong Kong protests, different colours symbolise various identities and levels of police force. Here is what some colours signify during the protests in Hong Kong. Anti-extradition bill protesters first dressed in white at the June 9th demonstration. Organisers said white represents brightness. But a week later, demonstrators switched to black. 2 million Hong Kongers joined the demonstration and turned Hong Kong streets into a sea of black. Some people call this black bloc tactics. To conceal their identities, they wore all black with masks and helmets. Ever since, black has been the colour of anti-government protesters. In opposition to the protesters, government or police supporters tend to wear white or blue. The colour became significant after violent attacks in the MTR station. Dozens of men in white stormed Yuen Long Station and beat up black-clad protesters coming back from a protest in the city. These men in white, suspected of being local gangsters, hurled objects and used steel bars to indiscriminately attack protesters, other passengers and journalists. On August 5th, some men armed with poles clashed with protesters in North Point. Some Beijing loyalists in North Point were unhappy about black-clad anti-government demonstrators protesting in the area. Journalists and first aiders mostly wear yellow and orange vests, along with helmets and masks. The eye-catching colour is meant to prevent them from being targeted by police or protesters. Hong Kong police flags are a warning to protesters about the level of force they are prepared to use. These 4 colours are most common at protests. Blue, police warning. This meeting or procession is in breach of the law. Disperse or we may use force. This is a relatively mild warning to a crowd, urging them to leave. Red, stop charging or we use force. Usually used if protesters are rushing police lines or prior to police advances. Black, warning, tear smoke. Tear gas will be fired to clear crowds. Orange, disperse or we fire. Police will shoot any time after this warning. So far, they've fired non-lethal rubber bullets and beanbag rounds. Protesters use laser pointers to flash police buildings, officers and surveillance cameras. They use different colours including blue, green and red. Hong Kong has been painted with these colours of protest since the start of June 2019. After more than 2 months, the city's largest political crisis since its handover to China continues to grow with no resolution in sight.